Do Jamie make that
Hey,
live?
Adam.
Oh, there
You
you
guys
are.
good to go? I just set it up going live. You guys are on air.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Right as I sent the message. Perfect. All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, thanks for your help. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're live. My name's Adam, and we're going to talk about totally shaking up your learning space. This is what I call the Carlisle Innovation Center. It's kind of my idea. And we're going to kind of make it a virtual and physical learning space, pretty much very untraditional. So we'll go ahead and get started here. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we'll get the show on the road. All right, here we go. Might take a second. There we go. So again, welcome to Education Global. My name's Adam, and this is the Carlisle Innovation Center. The Carlisle Innovation Center is an idea that I've come up with, developed in the last couple of years, and it's really taken got a lot of traction in the last 6 months. I've earned a few awards and grants towards it, and long story short, it's a physical and virtual learning space that's unlike anything that I've ever experienced. It's really combines all the ideas that I've kind of gleaned kind of by standing on the shoulders of giants throughout my 3 years as a tech coach. So no further ado. Oops. Can I kick it? Is a song by Tribe Called Quest is the official theme song of the Carlisle Innovation Center. So Can I Kick It? Yeah, it's spelled a little bit differently, but it's a play on words. All right, so a little bit about me. Again, my name is Adam Waters. I'm a tech integration coach for Cutler-Rossi Joint Unified School District out here in Central California. If you don't know where that is, we are about in the middle of the state, just in between Visalia and Fresno. I like to say that where I work is called the Toe Hills, right next to the foothills. We're in the shadow of the giant sequoias. Maybe about I can get there from about 30 minutes from my house, so it's kind of cool location. It's not the glitz and glamour of LA or the Bay Area. It's flat. If you've never been there before and we dropped you off an airplane, you probably think you're in the Midwest somewhere, very rural. The district where I work, it's about 95% Hispanic. Most students are the children of migrant field workers. Most of them, majority of them are English learners. So that's kind of part of the impetus behind me developing the Innovation Center was to serve that kind of population. Again, the best way to get a hold of me is through Twitter, Instagram, @TechCoachWaters is my handle. You can email me at golwaters14@gmail.com. Again, Twitter is probably the best way to get a hold of me. And I'm very proud to announce that the Carlisle Innovation Center was accepted by Google as a Google Innovator project. I'll be participating in the Google Innovator Academy in a few weeks in Sydney, Australia. So very excited for this. So it's really going to give my project a huge shot in the arm and really allow me to implement it better than I ever imagined. Regardless if I was going with Google or not, my district is behind it, and they were excited to hear my ideas, and now I'm going to get a lot more support than I ever expected. So, all right. So I like to begin any session or even want to teach a class. The beginning, I like to get to know me a little bit. So again, it's not me being narcissistic here, but it's always learn better from presenters and teachers that I felt like I can really connect with them and maybe get some a little insight on their background. So first and foremost, I am a father of these three little angels that you see on the screen. Ashley, age 6, Ariel in the middle, age 5, and Andrina, she'll be 4 in a month. So they are my pride and joy. My idol is, as you see on the GIF on the left, is Sir Alex Ferguson, arguably the greatest coach in sports history. All the things I do, my whole motto behind what I try to do, my whole mantra is based off of the tactics and strategies and leadership abilities of Sir Alex. I grew up in the 80s, some of the old He-Man geeks. So a lot of my references are, let you go to my website, techcoachwaters.com. You see a lot of He-Man gifs and references. Again, you see two of the schools where I serve, El Monte Middle School and Orosi High School. In the middle there, I'm a rabid supporter of Manchester United, team that my idol Sir Alex Ferguson coached for nearly 30 years. I'm the world's foremost expert on Fresno State football. That's a long story, but big passion of mine, and I'm a proud graduate of Fresno Pacific University. So that's me in a nutshell. So let's go ahead and get the show on the road. So again, go ahead and share your learning on social media using the following hashtags. Just say ECG217, don't spell it all out. That's the official hashtag for EdChange Global 2017. The Can I Kick It hashtag is for my project. So anything that you glean, any ideas and feedback, share it on Twitter, and we'll search that hashtag and connect with you as soon as I can. CB Tech Talk, that's a near and dear to my heart. It's a regional hashtag for here in the Central Valley of California. The CV stands for Central Valley. It's my esteemed colleague, Kathleen Goyette. We got together and created this hashtag as a regional Twitter chat to kind of bridge the gaps between all these rural towns out here in the valley, to really give a voice, an authentic audience, a platform to all the great things that are going on here. And to our surprise, not only has it connected teachers across our Central Valley, California, those who participate in our chat every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, from across the world. We have regulars from Chicago, from Alaska, you name it. We have people joining in. We've had people from Europe and Asia, Oceania, all these awesome places who join in. And so it's really gone much far beyond the Central Valley. So join us for our chat every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, where we are talking technology and pedagogy. It's not just about the tech, it's the pedagogy. So I'd like to really bring them together. We branched out from Twitter onto we have a Facebook group. Go ahead and request to join. We have a Voxer group, a Google Plus community, and we launched back in June cvtechtalk.org. So we have a website, kind of a one-stop shop for all the things that we're doing to really build those connections. So during this session today, leave comments on the video. I'll be pausing periodically to, if you're on the chat or actually joining in on the live video, go ahead and just converse with me. If not, you can go to this Padlet here. If you want to open up that link in another tab, you can leave your questions and comments, feedback, and I'll review that after the session and get back to you. So if you're going to leave any comments on the Padlet, make sure you type in that short URL exactly the way you see it. It's all case sensitive, and I'll make sure you leave your contact information so I know how to connect with you. So let's talk about the Carlisle Innovation Center. Now, this is we'll talk about later. This has been it's a combination of a myriad of ideas that I've had over the last 3 years. Once I left the classroom to become a full-time tech coach, I started seeing a lot of classrooms. I saw the dynamic from a totally different perspective. And one day for some reason, it popped in my head, the story of the tortoise and the hare. And we've all heard the story, and it got me thinking, what was the downfall for the hare? He got complacent. It was too easy for him. And that complacency led to his downfall, and it was the race. Well, I've seen that for so long in classrooms, the classrooms that I was a teacher or ones that I was observing. And I see these kids who are really, really bright. They get it really quickly. And teachers nowadays, and it has to do with state standards and administrative mandates, that we end up pandering to the lowest common denominator. And those kids who need that challenge to really stay engaged with their work and to be empowered, they get left behind. And a lot of times they give up. I've seen kids just kind of drop out of school and fail, or they become behavior problems, they become labeled, because they're not necessarily, they're not very good at the traditional model of school. They don't want to just sit there and wait for everyone to catch up. What are we doing for those kids who get it really quickly, just need to be challenged and not have to wait for students, everyone else to catch up with them? So that was kind of the impetus behind the Carlisle Innovation Center. And again, I know the story of the tortoise and the hare. It was a competition but I couldn't help but think, well, why couldn't they collaborate? Both the tortoise and the hare have some qualities that are beneficial to both. So why couldn't they have like maybe a competitive collaboration or a a collaborative competition? I couldn't help but think that. And the Carlisle Innovation Center was born out of really not pandering to lowest common denominator and challenging those students who need the challenge, and to really create a competitive and collaborative environment. So this is what I like to call an idea smash. I've been thinking about this idea for years, and in the last 6 or 7 months, it's really it's materialized. I liken the Innovation Center as an onion on steroids. So it's got a lot of layers. So think about onion on steroids, it's gonna have way more layers than your average onion. So an idea smash, because I've smashed together all these ideas that I've gleaned over the years from people who I consider to be mentors and idols. So I call that standing on the shoulders. Standing on the shoulders of giants. I'm nothing without them. That's an old saying from Sir Isaac Newton. And by standing on the shoulders of giants, I've taken their ideas, I've synthesized them, and made them, quasi my own. And it's, again, as you sit through this presentation today, any idea that you get that you may find interesting and useful, take it, run with it, make it your own. I encourage you. Steal from me. I stole from others, for lack of a better term. You were free to steal from me. So again, I think this was not born in isolation. It was born out of the connections I've had with so many great educators who came before me that I've learned from. So it's been a work in progress, and it continues to be a work in progress. So here's how the Innovation Center really materialized this spring. As we see over there, we see a co-worker of my colleague, a 6th grade ELA history teacher named Mrs. Cruz. Mrs. Cruz, at one point throughout the year, was so just pulling out her hair. She was going nuts. Her kids were not engaged. They were not empowered. She felt, man, my class is boring. My kids are bored. They're just sitting there consuming content and not creating it. So I popped my head in. I said, hey, Mrs. Cruz, your kids need to kick it. It's spelled CIC. They need to come to the Carlisle Innovation Center. So before I would ever even just jump in and take over a class or really have her implement some of my ideas, we'd have to do some empowered lesson planning. As I'll show you a link later, there'll be a link to 5 4Cs infused lesson plans. Now, actually, I probably want to tweak this because I don't think I like the word plan anymore. I like the word design. So we should replace the word plan with design. So we did some 4Cs lesson designing, a better word. And after using the planning and designing a lesson, it's learning experience with the 4Cs in mind, it led to Mrs. Cruz having some empowered teaching. And her empowered teaching led to empowered learning. So now her kids were no longer just consuming the content, they were creating the content. They were, putting themselves in the shoes of the characters they were reading, of the historical figures that they were learning about. They weren't just sitting there looking through a textbook and highlighting key terms and copying down definitions. They were really getting in there and taking ownership of their learning. So the Carlisle Innovation Center is twofold. We have the physical space and the virtual space. So we'll talk here first about the physical space. I had the privilege back in about a month ago in San Antonio during ISTE 2017 conference to present the Carlisle Innovation Center for the Google Teaching Theater. That was a huge honor, and it almost seemed like I was pandering to Google, but the physical space was inspired by the movie The Internship, which follows 2 kind of quote-unquote older guys who are joining a much younger crowd and trying to earn a internship for Google. And I remember watching that movie, just getting so many ideas for how I'd like to see my learning space evolve, and just seeing how it was built for collaboration. And it was totally not a cemetery-style classroom where they're sitting in rows and other kids are sitting there being compliant. I wanted them to kind of harness that kind of spirit that Google has for collaboration. The only thing about Google, it's all about the collaboration and sharing. And watching that movie really inspired, lit a fire under me to start designing this physical learning space that was much different than a traditional classroom. So here's a quick little schematic of my space right now. As of May, I was able to get my space going the way I would like to, and I received first a $500 award from Q as part of a contest that I entered, and they awarded me $500 for this idea. It was great, and a colleague of mine also awarded me donated about. He doesn't like when I say donated, but my good colleague of mine, Ed Campos, he was one of the pioneers of a movement called Classroom Cribs, where we're totally redesigning classrooms and really coming. Pretty much, Classroom Cribs is from the MTV. It's a combination of MTV Cribs and Paint My Ride. We're really just making these learning spaces customized for student and very student-centered. Totally bucking the trend of the traditional classroom. So Ed donated about $4,000 worth of materials to the Carlisle Innovation Center and gave it a huge shot in the arm, and it's taken off a lot faster than I ever could imagine. But here's the quick schematic of what it looks like. This room features, thanks to Ed's donation, two 70-inch flat screen TVs with both Chromecast and Apple TV for mirroring. In addition, I also have from the ceiling that was installed by my district an LCD projector. One of the coolest features, it's kind of hard to see, but on the walls, top and bottom, from ceiling to floor, is whiteboards, magnetic whiteboards. That right there is huge. Ed he had the room before me. He's one of the lead proponents of 360 math, where as a teacher, kids are doing their work on the walls, and teachers can just rotate 360 degrees and see student work. As a history teacher, I'm going to kind of make my own version of 360 history. So the whiteboard walls are very, very good for collaboration and for really showcasing student work. We have a Chromebook cart of some relatively new Chromebooks for students to whatever that they use them for. We have one of the coolest features that I actually purchased myself for this is the USB bed risers. Now, before I go into the bed risers, if you look at the seating arrangement, I have a very flexible seating arrangement with flexible furniture. Now we have, for $300, I took 36 desks and put every single one of them on rolling casters. So that's 4 casters per per desk. And for about $300, we were able to make every single desk a rolling desk, which is so cool. So we can in minutes change the configuration of the entire classroom. What you see there is what I call the arena configuration. That's what kind of my go-to, my favorite one. Now, I have 2 different types of desks. Some are raised higher than others, so to be standing desks. So again, I didn't have enough room to make on the schematic to add both types of desks, but I have pretty much 2 rows of desks along each kind of bank of desks that you see there. You have on the inner kind of concentric rectangle, you have the regular size lower desks. They're on their casters, which students will be sitting on normal chairs. Now the outer concentric rectangle are the raised desks, where students have a choice to either stand or sit in a bar stool. One of the first questions I ever got about the bar stools was, "Oh man, kids won't be comfortable." I go, "That's the point. I don't want them getting comfortable. I don't want them lounging and relaxing. I'm not going to have them sitting that long where they're going to get comfortable. I want them to get up and they need to collaborate with somebody. They're going to move. We're going to change the entire physical layout of the room in minutes. So to maybe resemble a Starbucks. We have a few other different ones. Maybe we need to get into some Socratic circles. So a lot of different, maybe a fishbowl activity. So we have a lot of different ways that we can, on the casters, just move the desk to whatever meets the needs of the lesson or the student's learning abilities. In the middle of the room is a really cool idea that I got from Minarets High School over here in the Valley. It's a very tech-oriented high school. I have a movable stage in the middle of the room. Now, cool thing is my dad, he moved into with me recently, and when he moved into my house, he brought over this big sauna. that he had in his old garage. And well, he didn't use it anymore, so he sold the sauna. But he had this piece of plywood, some 2x4s, all put on casters, so he can move the sauna around the garage. When he sold the sauna, he left a little platform on wheels. So I saw that platform. I'm like, boom! I got a movable stage. So I put that in the middle of the room. It's on locking casters, and whoever's speaking stands on stage. Part of my thinking behind that is that in adolescent development, part of adolescent development students, kids that age, they have this idea that they're on stage, that everyone's always watching, and it kind of governs how their behavior. So I said, you know what? I told myself, why don't I put that whole part of adolescent development to work for me? They already think they're on stage. Let's put them on a physical stage. I know a lot of students who would definitely jump at the opportunity to be up on stage and share their ideas and learning. And again, there could be some management issues there, but again, I'm going to take that on a case-by-case basis. So that's really cool. My chalkboard painted. It's going to be pretty awesome. As far as going back to those bed risers, that's one of the coolest things one of the ideas that Ed Campos and I were throwing around back in the spring. With these bed risers, what I can do, if you notice in the room, there's no teacher desk. I completely ditched my teacher desk. This is a student-centered environment. It's not teacher-centered. For me, as a tech coach, I'm mobile. All I need is my laptop in my computer bag. Everything I need is in there. Okay, my classroom's virtually paperless. I do have some areas where I can store some, physical files and stuff, but for the most part, everything is paperless. So as a tech, this fall, I'll actually get to really put a lot of my ideas into play as I'll be teaching 2 periods of history. So that's going to be really excited to get back in the classroom. But I can take any desk in the room and put them on those risers, and I have a standing teacher desk. I have 36 desks in this room right now. I don't have one class with that many students. So there's always at least one desk available for me to turn into my teacher desk. So however the whatever seating configuration the lesson requires, I can take a desk and anywhere, boom, get to work. And the cool thing is the USB bed risers have a cord that plugs into the wall, and one of the 4 risers, one with the plug, has 2 regular outlets and 2 USB outlets. So I'm powered up wherever I choose to go. So that's a really cool feature. I have a green screen over there next to one of the TVs. I put on a curtain rod. The green screen I picked up for about $35. It's 10 by 12. I got it on Amazon. That didn't cost too much. But about $15 at Walmart. Bought a curtain rod, and I can just, if I want to hide it, it slides back behind the TV, and it actually right now it's covering another part of the whiteboard wall. So if I need more whiteboard space, it's kind of hard to imagine that I would need more since I have so much. But if I need more, it's there. All I have to do is move the screen. I have more whiteboard space. So that's pretty awesome there. Up there on the top left corner of the schematic, I have a Makerspace Materials. Again, this is not just about the technology. It's the idea behind the Carlisle Innovation Center is that students have whatever tool they need to meet their learning task, whatever they need. If they need technology, this room is filled with technology. If they need things that are not using electronics and the internet, we have stuff for that. So I have a whole area of Makerspace Materials. I was told by my esteemed colleague, Catherine Goyette, she's a Google Certified Innovator. She did her cohort in Toronto, and she said that visiting the Toronto Google headquarters there, that there was an area, a wall, where they had every kind of charger and connector and dongle you can think of, and it was all checked out in the honor system. I know how teenagers are today. 2 things that they need: more battery life and Wi-Fi. Well, I got the Wi-Fi covered. Here, whatever charging cord they need, if they didn't bring it, they can charge their phones. And you know what? And I have a plan to really get those phones used properly. Too often, our students are using their phones as a tool. As a toy, and not a tool. So I've been talking a lot here. I'm going to go take a look at the comments here. It looks like Peggy George does some comments here. So she asks, if do the students help with designing a learning space? You know what? They do. Part of the whole idea behind putting the desks on casters is that, I'm giving kids voice and choice. Whenever I give a learning objective, I will give them kind of a menu of options, a way they can demonstrate their learning. So they can move the room around as they need. So if they need to collaborate with with 2 or 3 other classmates. They can form their own collaborative group. If they want to work solo, they can work solo, and they can move the room around and really take ownership of it. So very good question there. So I'll go ahead and pause for a second. And let's see here. And if anyone wants to go ahead and ask me some questions verbally, go ahead and jump in. Let's see. So if there's any questions, I'll go ahead and let you ask away before I move forward. So how's it going, Leslie? Can you hear me? No? All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So do you have any questions before I move forward?
Just came in, but I was on the YouTube thing. I'm curious about how you got.
I'm sorry, say it again. I think you cut out for a second.
I'm curious about how you for your project.
Oh, funding. Okay. First kind of funding I got, actually, I won an award, $500 award for this this project. I submitted the idea. I was very fortunate to get a lot of the stuff donated from a colleague of mine who's been really investing a lot of money into designing learning spaces. So again, a lot of it came either out of pocket or through donations.
Did you give presentations like different groups?
I have presented this idea again at the Q National Conference back in March, and I presented it again at ISTE about a month ago. So again, a lot of it's been my own research on finding ways to kind of design these learning spaces on a budget. Because if you want to buy a lot of the furniture, especially, it can be really expensive. For the amount of money I paid for the casters, the $300, a lot of times the house cost that much. So I outfitted 36 desks for the price of usually one rolling desk.
Right.
So part of this whole idea is to try and showcase that you don't need to go spend a lot of money. You could probably just go to Home Depot or even a thrift store and design your own flexible learning space without spending a lot of money. And a lot of your admin probably love to hear that.
Cool.
Cool. So yeah, thanks for chiming in. I'll go ahead and move forward on this presentation. Let's see. All right. All right, so here's some recent pictures of the learning space. Starting over the top left here, we actually see my movable stage. It's on locking casters. It's just plywood and 2x4s. That's all it really is, and it's very sturdy. It can hold up. I wouldn't recommend putting more than 2 or 3 kids on there, but just for safety reasons. But I'm going to be chalkboard painting that pretty soon, so I'm excited to do that. If you look closely at what you see there is the arena style seating configuration. You can see the different height levels of the some are higher than others. I'm right now in the process of ordering the bar stools for the outer rectangle, and we have regular seats for the regular size desk on the inner rectangle. We have, excuse me here, we have the kind of makerspace area where I have a whole area just for things like lightning chargers and mini USB-C, whatever kind of chargers and dongles a student may need. Headphones. We have tablet stands, arts and crafts, which is pretty much another word for Makerspace Materials. Whatever. I even have a scanner available for students to scan. One of my biggest pet projects you'll see when we go to the virtual space is the Sketchnotes Gallery. Where students make their sketch notes. I have them scan them and submit them to the Sketchnotes Gallery for them to share and share their learning and leave it for posterity. Let's see, you can see the actual, my actual USB bed risers over here on the top right. I just took a random desk and put them on the risers, and I can plug in, and I have power. I'm ready to go. One slide real quick. My computer's freezing. Sign. I have. Oops. Let's try that. I have also forgot to talk about it right here. We have the rolling toolboxes. This is a really cool thing that I had come up with recently. Back in March at Q National Conference, when I won the $500 award, is for what's called Q's Leroy Finkel Fellowship. Every year you submit an idea. Q will review them, and they take the top 5, and you come and present them. And the top 5 winners each get $500, and if whoever wins, gives the best presentation, is voted on by the audience, gets an additional $2,000 plus he's paid for it, which is kind of cool. So the winner of that, someone from right here, not too far from where I work, a good friend of mine, Kim Calderon won the big prize. And part of her idea, which is called STEM Buddies, was having these rolling toolboxes where she can transport materials from her upper grade kids to teach STEM to lower grade students. It's a really cool idea. And I saw that. I go, Kim, I'm going to steal your idea because I think it's the perfect thing to kind of complement my idea for the Carlisle Innovation Center. So I have right now 4 of these rolling toolboxes. They cost $20 at Walmart. And all the students' materials that they need to succeed in this classroom are in there, whether it's whiteboard, expo markers for the whiteboard. You have pens, you name it, it's all in there, and that it's mobile, so they don't have to go to one part of the room to get it. They can bring it with them. However, the seating arrangement during the lesson, I even have one just for me as a teacher. So if I need to move to a certain area to work while the kids are working, I can bring my supplies with me. So that's one of the forgot to a minute ago. All right, so over here on the bottom left here, we actually can see the green screen that I put on a curtain rod from Walmart, $20. So it cost. The green screen, like I said earlier, got from Amazon on bucks. That's exactly what I need. As you can see, that green screen is covering another part of the whiteboard wall. You can see the actual whiteboard walls goes from floor to ceiling. So if I need to make use of this whiteboard wall here, I can just simply bring this back here behind the TV, and I have even more whiteboard space. So pretty handy there. Again, here we have for $15. I found it $15 at Walmart.com. We have these are bar stools here. It's $15. I'm gonna order 20 of them for my outer rectangle for that seating arrangement. So again, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to really redesign your learning space. All right, so here's kind of the more of my philosophy behind it. It was a lot of this was built on the ISTE standards for students. I want students to become knowledge constructors, and we have some screenshots here of me working with my colleague that I mentioned earlier, Mrs. Cruz, some of her 6th grade students. And the whole idea behind this was that I want them to be knowledge constructors. They're going to construct the knowledge, their own knowledge, the way it means to them. They have the voice and choice to determine what something means to them and how to display it. I want them to become innovative designers. And again, this all kind of goes back to voice and choice. I want them to be computational thinkers. So they need to be able to choose the tool that meets the task. And the Innovation Center is all about providing students with those options to find the tool that's going to meet their learning task and learning goals. I want them to become global collaborators. This room has a lot of tech there, Chromebook cards, iPads, etc. And I want them to be able to reach that authentic audience and find people across the world that they can learn from, they can connect with. Again, creative communicators, going back to that authentic audience. As we'll talk about in a second when we get to the virtual part of the Innovation Center, is one of my favorite parts is called the Blogger Cafe. I want students writing, I'm the teachers, and I'm not going to be their audience. I want the world to be their audience. I want them to get feedback, both positive and negative, from other people, besides just people in the room. So the virtual space. Okay, we talked about the physical space. Now we're going to go virtual, and you can see the virtual space at cardinalinnovationcenter.org. You can access this slide deck that I am presenting from my website. My website is techcoachwades.com. I'll go back to that at the very end, and if you go on to my sessions tab and you click at Change Global 2017, you'll see the slide deck that I'm using. You can free to download it and refer to any of the links that are in the slide deck. So again, go to my website, techcoachwades.com, click on the sessions tab, find Ed Change Global 2017, and this slide deck will be there. So for the virtual learning space, the website I created for it through Google Sites for free is cardinalinnovationcenter.org. I bought the domain. It was like $15 for 2 years on GoDaddy. So it's real, it doesn't cost much. So the virtual space, we'll start. Here's my, this is my homepage. And we have our mission statement here, which says that the Carlisle Innovation Center provides students with a dynamic learning space where they are supported and encouraged to innovate and develop the skills necessary to succeed now and in the future. So the most important word there is student. This is a student-centered environment, both physically and virtually. So when you go to the cardinalinnovationcenter.org, this is the first thing you see. And really, I can't stress it enough how this is a student-centered learning space. But it does have stuff for teachers as well. So again, one of my favorite parts here, and I always leave with it, is the Cardinal Blogger Cafe. Blogger Cafe, again, this whole project is very Google-centric. It's pretty much made virtually completely all with Google tools. But if you are in an Apple district and working with iPads and Macs, I have some ideas for whether you can do a lot of these things using iOS. So, so let's see here. We have a cool little comment here from Brett. So yeah, it's going a lot of directions. I appreciate that. Yeah, Tesla 3. That's actually a dream car of mine, Brett. So that's a cool little analogy there. So again, like I said at the beginning, this is Onion on steroids. It's been years in the making. So whatever you can glean and take and use on your own, just pick and choose. So yeah, thanks for the feedback there. So the Blogger Cafe, I love it. Big, our superintendent's big on getting students writing. Students, in my experience, really don't like writing that much. Academic writing, when we make them write. So here, we'll write about this, write this 5-paragraph essay, blah, blah, blah. They hate it. Well, if we want to get kids doing that, we need to get them writing about what they want to write about first before we get them writing about the academic stuff. So the Blogger Cafe is a place it's a no stress environment where they can come into the Carlisle Innovation Center, grab a Chromebook, help them set up their Blogger account, which is part of their Google Apps for Education account, get them set up, and I want them blogging about whatever they want. I got this kicked off back in May, the end of the school year, and I have students and teachers alike who are now joining the Blogger Cafe and blogging about whatever they want to blog about. What you see here is a screenshot, and if you were able to actually scroll down this page, you would see that I have curated links to different genres of writing. So it could be politics, it could be fiction, nonfiction, it could be about sports, it could be about cooking, video games, whatever a student wants to write about, I have a genre for them. And when they come in the Blogger Cafe, you click on any of those genres, and you'll see the blog that students have chosen to write about, and they can do more than one. So the first student that actually joined the Blogger Cafe, not surprisingly, was the young lady you see there. Her name's Natalie LaFleur. She was our valedictorian. She actually just got a full ride academic scholarship to Georgetown. Very proud of this young lady. I've known Natalie since she was 8th grade. I was her history teacher then. And Natalie, as I've known for years, has been very passionate about politics. So it's not surprising she's going to be going to school in D.C. So Natalie, not surprisingly, wrote about politics in her blog. and it was great seeing her her viewpoints, and she knows her stuff. She makes those claims for what she believes in for politics, and she backs them up with research and really good counterpoints. So it's awesome. Over there, we also have our first teacher blogger, which is Mrs. White. She's an 8th grade ELA history teacher at our middle school, and she actually joined this short story competition through the New York Times, and she had to write a blog for it for her short stories, and she joined the Innovation Center, and she'll come in from time to time and sit down and start blogging, and she actually became a finalist. I'm not sure if she's won or not, but it's a great little blog in there. So we have teachers and students blogging about their passions, what they want to do. So that's the Blogger Cafe. Next we have, I love this one, the Booksnaps Gallery. Booksnaps, if you haven't heard about Booksnaps, are awesome. Booksnaps were the brainchild of a great educator out there in the Midwest, Tara Martin, where you're going to start leveraging the power of Snapchat. We know our kids are on Snapchat all the time. Sometimes they may bug us that they're on it so much, but Tara found a great way to get people using the tools of Snapchat to really engage with reading. She has a lot of brain research behind it that I read about it, and pretty much if you are reading through the lens of a book snap, a lot of the information now, you retain it so much better. So I have 2 ways in which you can upload your book snaps. So pretty much when you do a book snap with Snapchat, you take a picture of the page you're reading. You use the drawing tool to kind of circle the part of the page you thought was interesting or resonated with you. You use the text tool to put a caption in there and make your claim, and then you add stickers and your Bitmoji to really enhance and back up your claim. So it's a really cool thing to do. We have, again, Mrs. Cruz, who I talked about in the beginning of this presentation. She did Book Snaps Fridays, where we're part of a program called AR, Accelerator Reader. The kids are reading books all the time. So what I did, every Friday, she would do Book Snaps Friday. They would submit their book snaps to me through a Google form, and I would curate them through all the different AR reading levels. So from level 1 through level 12, if you were on a level 7, you click on level 7, you can see all the book snaps that kids have submitted for all the different books at that level. So if you get to level 7, you click on that page of the Book Snaps Gallery. You can say, oh, so-and-so read this book, and they thought it was really cool. Here's something that they read out of that book that maybe they didn't like. So it helps students kind of choose what kind of books they want to read. So it's a fun little thing we've done, and it's really began to take off last spring. So if you don't have Snapchat, it can be done with Google Drive on a Chromebook. You can have students take a picture using the Chromebook webcam. They can upload into Google Drawings or Google Slides and do all the same things that you do with Snapchat. There's a tool for it on Slides or Drawings. And again, it's all submitted to either the teacher yourself or to a tech coach like me managing this through Google Forms. So if you're not with Google, Google Slides works really well on an iPad, or if you're working with younger students, Seesaw is another cool alternative. Sketchnotes Gallery. Sketchnotes, I like to brag that I led a Sketchnotes revolution in our district this last spring, and it just took off from 6th grade all the way through 12th grade. And Sketchnotes is kind of the brainchild, as far as I'm concerned, of a great educator named Sylvia Duckworth. And I found some cool little YouTube videos online, some YouTube videos showing how to sketchnote. It's doing time lapse, showing how a sketchnote's done. So I share students that video of how to do a sketchnote. If you click on any of the our high school or middle school Sketchnotes Gallery, you see a link to that video right there, and you can learn how to show that to your students. And surprisingly, they pick it up really quickly. So this is kind of a good meshing of no tech and high tech. So when students take sketch notes, they submit them to me. At this point, I kind of review them. I take the ones that I think are the best for that topic. I scan them and I put them on the Sketchnotes Gallery website for either the middle school or the high school. And I have it curated by grade level and by topic. So you can go into 11th grade U.S. history, and I put the topic up there. So one of the ones we've done recently was the causes of the Vietnam War, and our 11th graders did some awesome sketch notes. So the kind of way we got started with sketch notes, I would take kids to go ahead and read this part out of a book or an article, or take some notes you've already taken and transform them into sketch notes. But the end goal is for students to start taking sketch notes on the fly. When I presented this same presentation at ISTE for the Google Teaching Theater, it was awesome. They had a professional sketchnoter in the room on chart paper, sketchnoting this presentation. And to see that final product, to see my ideas on a sketch note that were done in real time was amazing. That's going to take some practice for students, but that's the end goal. And the great thing about Sketchnotes and putting them on the gallery, kids are owning their learning. It's their note. It's not them copying from a teacher-made presentation. They're taking ownership of the learning. And when you put on the gallery, that student learning, their ideas, the way their whole summation of the lesson is now left for people to come back later and learn from each other. So it's very powerful. The Carlisle Social Media Center. Here I'm with this part of the Innovation Center. It's almost like a club where I'm going to really help students take ownership of our digital footprint. I want students to really get involved and create a positive social media presence for our school. So I have iPads and Chromebooks where we can have students could be live tweeting our sporting events. They could be taking pictures with the iPads and posting shots of student events on Instagram. I want students taking control of it. George Curl says that, if you don't take control of your school's social media presence, your digital footprint, an angry parent might. So here I'm actually going to empower the students to really take advantage or take control of our school's social media presence. Let's see here. Tech Squad, another kind of way to empower students. I have a lot of students who you consider to be very techy, and there's only one of me as a tech coach. My main job is training students and teachers to use mainly our Google apps and other stuff that I think that are worthwhile. But there's only one of me, and I have a lot of students who are very good at this stuff. So the Tech Squad is like another mini club they can join and take part of the Innovation Center. And if you need help with using a certain app, the Tech Squad is there to help for teachers and students alike. And the Tech Squad, we have our first 4 members over there. We have 3 seniors and a freshman. So I'm gonna have to get some new blood this fall. But what they do, they'll also go to all of our after hours events where parents are involved, and they set up a booth and they get parents set up on Gmail. They can show parents how to use Google Classroom so they can stay up to date with their children's classes. So they're there to really provide tech support for not only their peers but for their teachers. Because these kids are in the classroom already. So if he doesn't know, the Tech Squad can help out when I'm not available, and then they can also really help those parents. YouTuber crew, one of the big themes behind the Innovation Center is creating content, not consuming. And we know YouTube can be a big distraction among our youth today. But part of my goal behind the YouTuber crew is to get students creating YouTube videos, not just sitting there and watching them all day and wasting their time. One of the ways I got them started, I worked with a PE teacher where they did a badminton tournament, and after each match, the 2-player teams would using a green screen did like a Sports Center style like a recap of how their game went, and they reflected on it. I have about 6 students who have actually joined the YouTuber crew where they most of them like to submit their YouTube videos of them playing video games. I have one I'm really proud of over here. It says Edgy Nini TV. Jose, he just graduated. He's an aspiring professional boxer, so he put all his boxing videos up there. He became kind of a quasi-celebrity around campus once they started seeing him in the ring in action. So it's a great way of kids to really start creating content with YouTube. So another one of the little mini clubs that students can join to get involved with the Carlisle Innovation Center. Teacher, again, this is a student-centered environment, but teachers also, there's a place for them as well on the teacher portal. This is the homepage of the teacher portal. It talks about ways teachers can get involved. They can get involved in submitting their own book snaps and sketch notes. There's a page where they can, and I'll show you on the next slide, where they can meet and plan with me, the tech coach, to really kind of tech up their lesson plans and really infuse the 4 C's. And I have those 5 lesson design models that they can choose from. I have some links to ways to get their classrooms connected to other classes and experts across the world. So there is a place here for teachers as well. So here's the plan with the Tech Coach page. Again, just a screenshot. You see 5 lesson plan models that are all four C's infused. It's a great way for teachers to really kind of change up what they're doing in the classroom and really make it more, more relevant to our students' learning needs these days. Again, a lot of this is automated using Google Forms. I use some add-ons for forms and sheets called Eventomatic, where they fill the form and then boom, my calendar populates. So it's a really cool little tool. So if you want to see how that works in real life, go to cardinalinnovationcenter.org, click on the Plan with go to the Teacher Portal. On the drop-down menu, you see Plan with the Tech Coach Juarez, and you can see how that works. It's pretty cool. I've seen teachers say, hey, I'm going to use this when I want to schedule my parent-teacher conferences or some other things that they want to set up meetings with students. It's a great little tool, and I can talk more about that off the air. So again, I manage everything through Google Forms. It's all automated through Forms. And the way I do it without my email blowing up is that I create filters through Gmail. So I filter them into these different labels. So every day I'll check each of the labels, see if there's any new messages that have come through, and it makes it really easy to manage. It takes a little bit of work, but once you get it done, it's completely automated. So this has been pretty much a like drinking water out of a fire hose. Got a few minutes left. If anybody wants to put some more, wants to ask me some questions out loud or in the comments, we have a few minutes to open up the floor. But yeah, I hope there's something that from this onion on steroids. There's a lot to take in. But again, this is something I'm very passionate about. And if anyone would like to go ahead and ask me some questions, go ahead, and I'll be hanging out for a little while. I'll actually be back here in about 5 more minutes for another session, which kind of goes over in more detail some of these ideas, kind of more focused. But yeah, for all of you who've been here, thanks for. It's been a blast sharing my ideas with you. All right. Thanks, Peggy George. Yeah, anytime. Connect with me on Twitter, and I can answer more questions if you have any more ideas. Yeah, thanks for the feedback, Steve. Yeah, this has been fun. So Leslie, yes, the green screen curtain, it's awesome. Yeah, it doesn't cost much. For probably less than $50, you can put a curtain rod and get a $35 green screen on Amazon, and boom. You can hide it, you can leave it out. It's great. All right, so about 3 more minutes. So looks like that's about it. So yeah, I'll be back here. I'll be back in a minute. Actually, I won't even go off the air because I'll be starting my reimagining images session, which is going to go into a little bit more details about using things like Google Drawings and slides and book snaps and Sketchnotes. So more of a focus on that. So see everybody in a few minutes. saw me on YouTube? You hear me? One more go. Okay? And then I'll be going for a while. Okay? What's the matter? Okay, you got one more time, okay? Good? All right, I'm ready to go. Yep. All right, it's about that time, 3 o'clock. Welcome everyone who's watching or who joined in on the chat. My name's Adam, and this is Break the Walls Down, Reimagine Images. So you couldn't already tell, I'm pretty much I do like professional wrestling. You might recognize the Chris Jericho silhouette there in the in this slide. So we're going to talk about taking a look at the kind of bucking the trend of traditional use of images in the classroom. Using some of the tech tools that I've been using over the last couple of years. So just some of my ideas. Hopefully you can glean something from here and synthesize it and make your own version of it. So again, right here. Again, my name is Adam. I'm a technology integration coach from the Cutler-Rossi Joint Unified School District out in Central California. If you don't know exactly where that's at, we're about right in the middle of the state. We're about halfway between Fresno and Visalia. It's very rural. This is not the California. If you're not from California, this is not California you think of on TV. This is not the celebrities and the palm trees and beaches of LA or the glitz and glamour of the Bay Area. This is if you're from the Midwest, you would think you're still in the Midwest. It's very rural. The schools that I serve, which is El Monte Middle School and the Rossi High School, we're about 95% Hispanic. There's about 4.5% Filipino, and I can probably count all the white students I've had over the years on 2 hands. That's the kind of population I serve. Most of my students are English learners. So some of these ideas were designed with their learning needs in mind. You can connect with me on Twitter and Instagram, and my handle is @TechCoachWattez. Don't feel afraid to butcher my last name. It wasn't until I started working out in Rossi that I got used to hearing my name pronounced correctly. So it's actually a lot easier to pronounce than it looks. But yeah, don't feel free to chime in whenever you get a chance. You can email me at my email address, golwatez14@gmail.com. So Twitter's probably the best way to get a hold of me. I'll respond the quickest there, but you have Twitter, Instagram, email. I will respond as quickly as possible. So a lot of the ideas that I'm going to share with you for this are part of my Cardinal Innovation Center project. The Cardinal is the logo for our Rossi High School, and the Cardinal Innovation Center is a physical and virtual learning space that's student-centered and designed to really get students creating content instead of consuming it. And I've recently been honored to announce that that this project has been accepted to the Sydney, Australia Google Certified Innovator Academy coming up in a few weeks. So I'm going to be hopping on a plane, heading down under for 3 days of some intense learning and collaboration to really synthesize and crystallize my thinking for this project. So the ideas in this session that I'm going to share with you come pretty much directly out of that project. So that project has a lot of stuff to it, a lot of layers to it. So I'm just taking certain layers out of it. I'm going to focus on those for this session. So again, I start every session or even the first day of school when I'm in the classroom with talking a little bit about me. Now, it's not me being narcissistic, but in my experience, I learned from teachers and presenters who shared part of their life with me, and I found a way to connect with them. So a little bit of background, some method behind my madness. I'm the proud father of these 3 little angels here. We have Ashley on the left, who's 6. Ariel in the middle, who just turned 5 last week. And over on the right, we have my youngest daughter, Andrina, who will be 4 in about 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, I have my hands full with the 3 little girls. Love them to death. They are my pride and joy. We are affectionately known as the A Team because all of our names are beginning with the letter A. I actually have that A Team logo tattooed on my left shoulder. So if I ever see you in real life, I have no problem showing it off. My mentor, my idol is Sir Alex Ferguson. You see the GIF of him in between my first two daughters. Sir Alex Ferguson was the legendary coach of my favorite soccer team, Manchester United. He's arguably the greatest coach in sports history. Go ahead and Google him. It'd be hard to disagree with that, but again, that's an argument for another day. But a lot of Sir Alex's philosophies and the way he learned from other great leaders and coaches and teachers, etc., and he put those philosophies to work to create his own, has been very inspiring to me. I am a child of the '80s, so I'm a big He-Man dork. I do a lot of He-Man references in my classroom and on my website, techcoachwaters.com. You'll see some He-Man references, but I've always been intrigued by the way He-Man's sort of power transformed him from the meek Prince Adam to the most powerful man in the universe. That transformation of becoming better, it's always really resonated with me. So I tried to incorporate that into my teaching. I am probably the world's foremost expert on Fresno State football. If you don't know much about Fresno State football, I know virtually everything about it, partly because my dad was the equipment manager for 20 years there, and my whole childhood was in the locker room with all the football players, many of which went on to the NFL, even won Super Bowls. So it's very near and dear to my heart. And lastly, I'll leave you with this: that I'm a proud alumnus of Fresno Pacific University. I earned my degree in history, my teaching credential, and I played on the soccer team. So again, that's just me in a nutshell, and hopefully you can identify with me one way or another, and we can continue this learning journey. So again, please share all your learning here on social media using the first and foremost the ECG 2017 hashtag for this event. It's a great event put on by some really great educators. And CV Tech Talk, that's my hashtag that my esteemed colleague Catherine Goyette and I have created to really build connections between the rural schools and towns out here in the Central Valley of California, so we all know what it gives you a platform to share the great things that you're doing, and really we can collaborate and work together on getting better. Originally, CV Tech Talk was just here. We designed it here for the Valley, but to our delight, it's kind of gone across the world. We have more regulars who join in this chat every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, where we're talking pedagogy and technology. We have people from across the world who are regulars, from the East Coast, Midwest, Alaska. We have people joining in from Israel before. That was surreal. From Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Singapore, even I believe Ireland and Spain have chimed in. So we didn't expect that, but it's very, very welcomed. So please, if anything that resonates with you, or if you want me to connect with you somehow, use the CV Tech Talk hashtag. I monitor that religiously, and I will get to you as soon as I can. So look at the comments here. Peggy George, yes, that was Sir Alex Ferguson. He is my idol. He's my idol for as a leader. For me, it doesn't get much better than him. But yeah, that was Sir Alex Ferguson. You have a very good eye. So I'm gonna leave right here with a link to a Padlet. If you're watching online right now, just take out your phone. You want to take scan that QR code. It'll take you to a Padlet. Again, it's only about an hour-long session. I can't get to all your questions. Leave your notes, your ahas, comments, questions on the Padlet below, along with your contact information, and then I can respond to you in a timely fashion. So what can you expect from this session? This session is a deviation from the traditional use of images and pictures. We'll talk about Google Drawings, one of my favorite apps. Pretty much it's like free Photoshop. And as you'll find out, a lot of the same things you can do on Google Drawings, you can also do on Google Slides. So go ahead and take a look at those. We'll talk about some of the ideas that I've kind of started implementing using Google Drawings and Slides. I prefer Drawings, but if you're like on an iPad, there's no Google Drawings app. So if you don't have access to Drawings, Slides is it's a good kind of an iOS alternative. I'm a big fan of Google Photos. Man, Google Photos has saved my skin so many times. One we'll talk about how to use it with your students, but then again, just for your own personal use, Google Photos is free, unlimited photo storage for you. And trust me, it is unlimited. I tested out that theory. I have a friend of mine who will go unnamed who gets me access to the MP4 files of entire Hollywood movies. So I get all these for free. So Google Photos will for free store your images and videos you take with your mobile device. Or if you want to, you have them saved somewhere, you upload it into Photos, it's free storage. I have about close to 100 full-length movies in MP4 format. I said, let's see how unlimited this is. So I plugged in my portable hard drive to my laptop and started uploading these movies, entire full-length movies, to Photos. And it took a while to upload them. Once they're there, I can go into Photos from anywhere and stream those movies for free. So it is unlimited. The cool thing is, I have it set to back up on my phone. It doesn't matter if you have an Android or an iPhone. I'm not sure if it works on Windows phones, but from what I understand, Windows phones are dead now. But I won't go into that. You can set it to automatically back up your pictures every time that you take a picture. And we've all been there before. Especially if you have a 16 or 32 gig phone, you're downloading an app or you want to take a video or picture, and you run out of space. Google Photos, what I would do every night. I'll plug my phone in for the night, go to my camera roll or gallery, delete all, and first I check Photos to see that they've been backed up. Once I see that they've been backed up, I go to my gallery for camera roll and delete those files from my device, saving that memory. So it's really cool, at least for a personal standpoint. But I'll show you also with students how to do virtual gallery walks. And a few other ways to get kids collaborating using Google Photos. One of the really cool things I've learned from a great educator out in the Midwest named Tara Martin is how to do book snaps. And I'll share with you just a little bit of a link to some of the brain research behind using Snapchat to really engage students with reading and get them really encouraged to read more. And I've seen it by getting students doing book snap. You see them reading a lot. Their retention of what they read, their comprehension does increase, and your engagement increases because I get to use Snapchat now. We all know kids love Snapchat, so we will talk about how I've incorporated that as well. We'll also talk about how to engage students with Sketchnotes. Another great educator out there, Sylvia Duckworth. For me, she's the Sketchnotes guru, and I'll show you how to kind of ways to get started with students creating Sketchnotes. It's a good way to get students to reread. You may have students read something, have them read it again, and turn what they read into a sketch note. That's a good first step into getting them creating sketch notes. I'll share some resources that I have for teaching students how to do sketch notes. And we'll finish off this presentation talking about simple ways to take advantage of the webcam on your iPad or your Chromebook or a laptop. Ways to incorporate that with things like Blogger and Google Docs and more. So first we'll start off here with Google Drawings, and again, virtually a lot of the same things you can do with drawings you can also do on Google Slides. So first and foremost, I like to call this free Photoshop. You see over here on the left, we have an image I created on Drawings. It's actually a sticker that I made. I have it on my laptop, and I give them out to people when I present. It's my Man United hashtag Man United EDU sticker. Just so you know, there's a quote that says, "Learning through the lens of Manchester United, my favorite team." Whenever I teach students or teachers a new tech tool, I use Manchester United information as kind of like to teach them that tool. So just a little gimmick of mine, but I created a sticker. Again, I went and got some free clip art, pasted it onto a Google Drawing. I superimposed my idol, Sir Alex Ferguson, his head onto that clip art drawing. I threw a little soccer ball in there. I put another clip art of a chalkboard. I used the text tool to type in the hashtag and the quote there, and I stuck on there the my favorite team, Manchester United, their images, their crest on there, all created for free using Photoshop. So you don't need to go out and pay for it. It's free through Google. So yeah, it's just you can get teaching students how to really use this tool. It's a great way to have them get creative, to kind of smash ideas together, really incorporate different ideas, and let them be creative. I would say if you want to teach them how to use this the first day, say here's Google Drawings. I would give them a random number, but here, take 4 or 5 things that you like and make like a graphic about it, and just let them have fun with it. And once they learn how to have fun with it, they'll develop that skill. And then when you want them to start using it for something academic, they have it. So it's a great little way to get started. Just kind of pasting pictures together and seeing what you can come up with. Another great educator out there, Google certified innovator and trainer, Eric Kurtz, wrote a great blog post about magnetic poetry. What you can create little lines and words on drawings that can be dragged and dropped anywhere on the excuse me, on the canvas there, and they can create poetry that way. It's a real cool little blog post. If you go to my website, techcoachwaters.com, click on the sessions tab, and you'll find the link to Change Global 2017. You'll find this slide deck that I'm presenting from, and you can have this slide deck and make your own copy of it. And all these links that are on this page, you click on them, and it'll take you to them. So it's a good little resource for you to refer to. I love the whole idea of dragging and dropping with Google Drawings. You see I have a GIF up there showing you, it's from a math class. So a little simple T-chart, quadrilaterals and other polygons, and you're going to match up the names of the shapes as long as with the actual shapes themselves. So a little interactive way to get students, pretty much that's a virtual manipulative. And this can easily be passed out to students using Google Classroom. You create the file, you disperse it through Google Classroom, a copy for each student, and they have their own copy. And then you can click on each student, see what they did, and review it. Completely paperless, and then they make your life a lot easier. It's a great way, like I said earlier, to make infographics, diagrams, and puzzles. I have a few other little screenshots there of some images. Let's see. Thank you, Peggy. I'm glad to be mentioned in the same breath as Eric Kurtz. He's a great guy. I got to meet him at ISTE. Actually, when I presented for Google over there, I got to meet him in the room. It was a big moment for me. I took a selfie with him. Of course, I had to. It's kind of my thing. But yeah, Google Drawings is a great way just to make infographics, diagrams, puzzles. For me, I remember when I was in class, when I was a kid, I didn't like making those posters. Teachers would say, here, go get a poster board, make a poster. I just felt like I was so limited. Google Drawings, your poster now becomes unlimited. You can put rich media in there. There's so many more things you can do with it than you could with a normal poster. If you're going to take a Google slide instead of drawings, you can do all these same things. Plus, you can drop some YouTube videos in there as well. And you use multiple slides onto one presentation. So it really takes that whole idea of the traditional student poster to a whole new level. So Google Drawings, check it out. If you have more questions about this, need some ideas, just go ahead and tweet me at TechCoachWaters. Let's see. So again, I'll briefly talk about this. Obviously, when I'm usually doing this face-to-face with people, this is a challenge that I have, but it's again, this is Man United EDU. This is where I would have you kind of a sandbox activity. But if you access this slide deck through my through my website, right there it says click here. It'll take you to a Google Slides presentation where you would do some dragging and dropping. And it's a real cool little simple activity where it gets people collaborating and really practicing those dragging and dropping skills. I know out here in California, our Common Core aligned state exam is called the CASP, and it requires students to have those skills to be able to drag and drop. And this is a simple way using slides or drawings. It'll work the same for you to really get students practicing dragging and dropping, and it also increases some collaboration. So this is actually the that presentation here where you can practice the dragging and dropping. I'm a big old Manchester United dork here, and right now I'm going full screen, so you can't really see it, but I have on the side of the slide, you see the pictures, all 11 players on the field. So the idea, what would be for you to do is to have to go ahead and, if you don't know the name of the players, you don't know their faces, you have to Google their names, find their pictures, and then drag them over the top of their name. So it's a simple little drag and drop tool. You can put kids in individually, groups of 2 or 3, have them work on it. Just a simple way to get started using these tools. And again, it builds their hand-eye coordination and their ability to drag and drop on a Chromebook. It can also be done on an iPad as well. So again, some of the skills the kids need, especially when it comes to our testing. So next here, we'll take a look here at Google Photos. Before I move forward, take a look here, Hangout. If there's anybody, let me check to see if there's anybody actually watching on that version. So, yeah, before I move forward, does anybody want to ask some questions on the live Hangout? Looks like we have Mary. I see that you're watching, so welcome, Mary. Thanks for joining me. If you want to verbally, I'd be glad to answer. If not, I can continue moving forward. So I'll give you a second if you want to join in. All right, that's fine. No big deal, and we'll go ahead and move on. Thanks for joining in. Let's see, let me go back to presentation mode, and we will continue. All right, so Google Photos, relatively new app shot out by Google in the past. Their photo sharing was called Picasa. It kind of worked hand in hand with Google Plus, but now they created Google Photos as a separate standalone app. Completely changed my whole outlook on photos, because man, I remember I had portable hard drives filled with thousands of photos of pictures from my family, from my kids, videos. Even when I get those bootleg movies, but don't turn me in, please. Photos is a great place to store them, and it's lightweight. I can take it. I can view anything that I have on there. I mean, I have probably hundreds and hundreds of gigs worth of photos and videos that I can access on my phone just by streaming, and it's a great little app. So one of the ways that you can get started is, especially with students, is on doing a shared album. Now, that's the way that I have used it with students. A shared album where you create the album. First, you drop a photo. Choose any photo that you want to share with people, and you add it to a shared album. So you can create the album the first time, and once the album's created, obviously your photo, the ones that you put in there, are the first ones in, and you can share it as a link. You can put it on social media. You can email your students that way with a link to that shared album. Once they click on the link, they can join, and then they have access just to that album. Now, I've had this question asked before. Can they see any of my other stuff? No, they only see the photos that you shared with them. It's kind of just like a back door into one little corner of your saved photos. It's not your entire photo library. So we have a quick question here from Peggy. She says, is it important to tag your photos in a shared album? What it does automatically, when you look at it, it puts the person's name on there. So if you can look closely on my presentation, if you look closely enough at some of those screenshots, you can see that the people's names are automatically on there. So who's going to be a little knucklehead and put something appropriate, you know exactly who did it. So it tags it for you. And one of the cool things on a shared album, anyone who has access can now add a comment. That's where the gallery walk and jigsaw activity comes with a shared album. It's a really cool feature of it that I've used. So I can jigsaw an entire chapter. I mean, me being a history teacher, I'll talk about history. A chapter about World War II, and I can there's enough information in World War II. If I want to do a quick overview of it, there's enough information in just World War II where I can put a whole class of 35 kids and give them their own individual part, and find a I would say something like, so I would say put 2 to 3 pictures that encapsulate your title or your topic of World War II. So they upload they search them, they save them, and then upload them into the shared album. And what I tell them to do, when you upload a photo, you be the first one to comment on it with a little quick description of what it means. And once everyone has done that part, then they do a kind of gallery walk. Again, they're at the gallery seat. They can sit there in the chair with their Chromebook or an iPad, and they can browse through. And I would tell them, if I have a class of 35 kids, I'm going to say, you have to go through at least 7 or 8 topics and click on them and leave comments, ask questions about that photo. And the person who uploaded it becomes kind of like that expert group, the expert on it. So if you have a question, if my topic was Hitler's invasion of Poland, and someone else is talking about D-Day, and I'm not really understanding what was going on in that picture, I can ask my questions, and then you kind of an academic conversation through the comment thread on each photo. So it's a really fun activity, and kids will say the bell rings, you're like, oh, it's over, I wasn't done. So if you get that going, you actually leave students wanting more, and that's a very powerful thing. You leave them wanting more because the next day they want to jump back in. You really increase that engagement. My esteemed colleague Catherine Goyette will be doing a presentation later, or she's already, I'm not sure if she's done it yet, but it's called Ditch That PowerPoint, No More Boring Presentations. And Google Photos is a really good way, if you teach your students how to use the tools on there, how to really jazz up their presentations. Pretty much, we've probably all seen a student presentation where they throw a bunch of bullets to the occasional image, and they sit there and they read it to you while it's flashed up on the projector screen. Kind of boring, if you ask me. Now, what's a good way to really get them to be creative? Animated GIFs. Students can create animated GIFs on Google Photos. One of the things that I've done in the past is I have students kind of like think of like animated GIFs is like think of stop motion, very similar to that. And I'll have students maybe act out a scene. So I've had a student in the past one time. I said, hey, you know what? Your topic that you were being the expert on was Hitler's death. So I had them act out. So they had a partner who would, with their camera, with their phone, took a picture of them pretending like they were committing suicide like Hitler did, at least supposedly. There's the Russians said that they actually captured them, but that's a story for another day. Where he pretended to take the cyanide capsule with his then lover Ava Braun, and so I showed him gagging out and dying. So we took a burst of shots, and we uploaded those pictures into Google Photos. And you select the ones that you want to be animated, and it stitches them all together and creates animated GIF. So that kid took his GIF and kind of acting out Hitler's death and put it on his slideshow. And it was brilliant because now he was into it. He took ownership of it. It wasn't some GIF that he searched off the internet. That's also a useful activity. But now they can create the GIFs, and it's real simple. Any photo you put into Photos, you can select any number that you want to animate them. So I have a cool little example of my 2 oldest daughters coloring, Ashley on the right, Ariel on the left, and I just took a burst of photos and boom, and you can once you select the ones you want, you hit the plus button, the top right corner of the Google Photos app or on the website, and hit animation, and it sets it up for you. So it's a really cool little tool to really work with students. Oh man, I'm talking for a while. So if anyone has any questions, they want to chime in, now's the time, and I'll pause for a minute and let you guys either tell me verbally on the physical chat or on the when you want to send the text on the YouTube chat. All right, so I'll go ahead and move forward here. So here we go. We have a question here from Peggy again. Let's see. Now, yes, Google Apps for Education does not limit your storage. Privacy restrictions, that again is up to your Google Apps admin. So for my district, I'm the apps admin. The kind of buck stops with me when it comes to anything Google. That's that's kind of funny. Interesting story. Well, from hopefully I answered your question. So the storage is completely unlimited. Even your Google Drive is unlimited. A story I heard about that from somebody at Google, or someone who's been around longer than me, said that they wanted to test how unlimited their Google Apps for Education Google Drive storage was, and I believe that someone actually put in a 10 terabyte file. I don't know where you would get a file like that. It took a while, but it stored it. So your storage is unlimited. Privacy, again, that's up to your admin, your Google Apps admin. For me, I'm pretty liberal with the privacy, and I deal with it on a case-by-case basis. But yeah, talk to your Google Apps admin. A lot of times it's your IT guys. And I'm fortunate to be the tech coach, and so I give that kind of teacher's perspective on our Google Apps admin and their whole domain. So a lot of times the IT guys will just block a lot of things, and you have to really kind of twist their arm to get them to do it. Here's my trick that I've learned with the IT guys. If they're in charge of your Google Apps domain, donuts is a good way to get them started. I love my IT guys, and when I get stuff done, yeah, donuts is a good entry point. So yeah, hopefully I answered your question. Let's see, we have any questions here on Twitter. Got a few that I'll get to in a second, but let's go to Book Snaps. We have the Book Snaps founder over there, Tara Martin, one of the nicest people you will ever meet. Tara Martin. She's just absolutely amazing. She is, in my opinion, an edu superstar. She's edu famous, and you think someone that famous in any walk of life would have some sort of an ego. This she was the most down-to-earth person I ever met, and I was so fortunate to meet her at ISD. Great experience. Of course, knowing people who know me know I take selfies with all the new people I meet, so that was a fun selfie. But yeah, Tara Martin's amazing. We have a link to the brain research that she kind of did and learned from and with developing the idea of Book Snaps. So Book Snaps, long story short, you're using Snapchat while you read. So you're reading a book and you find something that resonates with you or something that you have an opinion about. Take a picture with Snapchat. You use the different Snapchat tools, and you first the first tool I like to use is the drawing tool. I circle the part that resonated with me. And I use the text tool to make a claim. And I use the different stickers and even my Bitmojis connected to it to kind of back up that claim. You see on the left is one of the first book snaps I ever did when I was reading. I forget which book that was, but yeah, it was actually no, that's from Launch by A.J. Giuliani and John Spencer. The first book snaps I ever did. So we have a question here about Google Photos. It says, does the app integrate with Google Classroom? That's a very good point. It doesn't integrate the way with files do from Google Drive, but what you can do, especially when you're doing the shared album to do a jigsaw and a virtual gallery walk, what you can do with Google Classroom is that you when you create the shared album, you copy the link and then you paste the link into a Google Classroom announcement or assignment. And that way you distribute, every kid gets the link and they just click on it and they're in. So that's the way that I've used photos with Google Classroom. So very good question. Hopefully I answered it. If you have any more, feel free to add on. Book snap with Kindle books. Brett, great question there. Yes, I have plenty of actual physical books, but yeah, whenever I want a book snap when I'm reading on my Kindle, what I do, I find the page, I screenshot it, and then I have it saved into my camera roll, and I can access it through Snapchat and do all the same things. So actually, my best book snap, I think they're higher quality book snaps when you do them through Kindle and you just screenshot that page, because a lot of times you have to do with the if you're taking a picture of an actual physical book, the curvature of the page and maybe the lighting, the shadowing, you don't get a really good image of your page. But when you screenshot it from Kindle, it's amazing. So yeah, great question, Brett. So we have excuse me, sorry about that. And so if you're not going to be using the Kindle book, your Kindle ebooks, simply taking a picture of Snapchat. So if you own the book, you can highlight it as well, physically highlight it, as you see in two of the example book snaps on this page. What I've done as part of my Carlisle Innovation Center project is created a book snaps gallery. Now this is when I first learned about book snaps, my mind went straight to this. If kids are taking book snaps, what are we doing with them? They just take them for the sake of taking them. They turn into the teacher. The teacher sees it. Great. I want them to have that authentic audience. So what I do, let's see here. Question here from Reba. So with book snaps, are you able to do markups for close reading? You can, definitely can, with some of the Snapchat tools. I would say, yeah, you totally could. I have a few other ideas of how you can do close reading. I did a session yesterday called Ditch That Copier using PDFs, where you can a tool called Doc Hub through Google Drive that is very good for marking the text and close reading. So if you want to connect with me later, Reba, find me on Twitter at TechCoachWattez, and I can share with you some resources I have for digitally marking the text for close reading. So I would say in theory you can with Snapchat and doing book snaps. I wouldn't recommend it for that activity, but technically you could. So again, connect with me on Twitter, and we'll go ahead and share some ideas. So the Book Snaps Gallery, which is a big part of my Carlisle Innovation Center, it's called Doc Hub. Doc Hub is a third-party app through Google Drive. So yeah, Doc Hub. So if you go to, be sure to open up a PDF file in Google Drive. It says Open With, and Doc Hub can be part of your list already. If not, it says Connect More Apps. Search for Doc Hub, and you can open it there. So great questions. So back to the Book Snaps Gallery. So what I do, I have students can create their book snaps with their phones on Snapchat, or they can do it with Google Drawings or slides. All they have to do is just take a picture of their book with their webcam, and they can import that image into a slide or Google Drawing canvas. And all the same things you can do with book snaps, you can do on Snapchat, you can do on slides or drawings. And what I do with kids when they take a book snap with either Snapchat or they have it on Google Drawings, I have a Google form that I put out to them that they can upload their book snaps through that form, and I will then curate them by subject or topic and on the Book Snaps Gallery. So if you ever, there's a link on this called to the Carlisle Innovation Center. It takes you to the Book Snaps Gallery, as you see a screenshot of it right there. And all you got to do is just click there, and I have it by grade level and by subject. So the one that probably got used the most was our 9th and 10th grade ELA on some of the novels they did. They're reading Bless Me Ultima and To Kill a Mockingbird, and then they went pretty crazy with the book snaps. It was awesome to see that. One of our really young, innovative teachers, Amy Williams, would do book snaps for every chapter. So my Book Snaps Gallery is kind of for the whole school, but you as an individual classroom teacher, you can create your own Book Snaps Gallery where the students submit their book snaps to you. You take the ones that you think are the best and put them on there for kids to learn from. So if there's a student that's absent and they missed, chapter 4 of To Kill a Mockingbird, you direct them to that website, to that gallery, and they can see what their peers have read and their opinions about it, so they can have an idea of what's going on in the book, help them to stay up to date. Even for the next school year, before you read the book, you can do a nice little gallery walk there of all the book snaps from that from the previous year's class. The previous year's class is sharing their learning with the kids in the future. So it's a really great way to display student work. All On to Sketchnotes. Sketchnotes are, man, my favorite way of taking notes. And the great thing about Sketchnotes is that you don't need to be a good artist. I have horrible fine motor skills. My handwriting is terrible. Some people say I should have been a doctor. My handwriting is so horrible. So just take a look at the two images you see there on the left. The one on the left versus the one on the right. Which one would you rather look at? If I'm a student reviewing my notes, while I'm studying, which one would I rather see? I'm definitely going to want to see the one on the right. As a history teacher for years, I would collect student notes as part of their grade. And I'd review them, see that they're taking the correct notes. Really, I'd give them feedback on how to take notes better. And more often than not, it was what you see there on the left. Man, I hated looking through those notes, reading students' bad handwriting. But now, as I'm going to dip my foot back in the classroom for 2 periods for the next semester, kids, I don't want to see the notes on the left. I want them doing sketch notes, because there they have really taken ownership of their notes. They're adding things that they're personalizing their notes. I mean, yeah, you can technically do that on a notebook with words, but I want those visual representations of their ideas and connecting ideas using connectors, using arrows and color coding to really get deeper inside their brain to really improve comprehension. So it's I absolutely love Sketchnotes. In a similar fashion that I've created the Booksnaps Gallery. We also have a Sketchnotes Gallery. My Sketchnotes Gallery displays student work. Their student created sketchnotes, and what they do, same way, I have it curated by grade level and by subject. And then you click on, let's say for example, you go to the CarlisleInnovationCenter.org. There's a link right there on this page, and all you gotta do is say click on 11th grade, go to social studies. I got this up and running last April when our U.S. history class was talking about the causes of the Vietnam War. What they did, they went in there and the teacher would have them do he had an old presentation that he had them sketch note about the causes of the war, and they would submit the actual paper sketch notes to me, and the ones that I thought were the best, I scanned them, and I took the scanned sketch notes and I pasted and I displayed them on that page. So on that page for U.S. history, 11th grade, then you go to U.S. history. There's a topic page there. It says causes of the Vietnam War. You click on that page, and boom, it shows you all the sketch notes that I deemed at that time worthy. And this upcoming year's students, when they get to that part of the curriculum, that teacher can now, before they even start learning about it, say, here, let's review last year's students' learning, and they can learn from each other. One of the great things is having students learn from each other. I've seen this firsthand with my own daughters. My oldest daughter, Ashley, she is brilliant. She photographic memory. She's just smart as a whip. She figures out everything. I mean, she was 4 months old. She already knew how to swipe on an iPad, and she figured that out on her own. I didn't even teach her. But I really worked with her, reading to her and just doing everything that you would expect a good parent to do. And I'm just so proud of how intelligent she is. And my second daughter, Ariel, I almost felt guilty because I didn't really spend as much time as I did with Ashley. And again, when you have 2 kids, you're stretched out farther. But I didn't see any deficits in Ariel because Ariel was learning from her older sister. And that, I guess it's kind of human nature that we learn from each other so well. And using sketch notes and book snaps and sharing the previous year's students' work with each year coming on after, it's a great way to get that part of human nature that we learn from each other so well. I mean, you know what? Some kid, for whatever reason, may not even like you as a teacher, can't stand you, and they will intentionally not learn from you. They'll learn from their peers. This is a great way to have peer-to-peer learning opportunities. All right, I'll stop pontificating. So we'll finish up this presentation. Well, last slide here is about rocking that webcam. This is probably a device that does not get, it's pretty, in my experience, has been very underutilized in education, whether it's the webcam on your iPad or a Chromebook or a laptop. very powerful, but just using pictures. One of the first ways I've used, I enjoy using the webcam. I started doing it, a little project that we're working on called math blogs. I'm a history guy. ELA comes easy to me. Science and history can go really well together. Math, for me, that's a completely, totally foreign concept. So I was thinking, how can I get some more technology and writing into math? So I had this idea where, you know what, why don't we have students use the webcam, take pictures of their work, then blog about it. So we started, every kid, we went to blogger.com. It's connected to their Google Apps for Education. What's going on here? Amazon Assistant. I don't want that. Technical difficulties. Let me get back here. Let me get back on my soapbox here. All right, let's see. Almost back in business. All right, there we go. We got them to blogger.com, which is part of their Google Apps for Education accounts for each of the students. So if you don't have that right now as part of your account, go to whoever your Google Apps admin and say, hey, turn on Blogger. It's free. Very simple to use. If you can type a Google Doc, you can work with Blogger. All the tools are virtually the same. So Peg with the question, do they need a webcam to take pictures of their work? Yes and no. It's probably if you have devices without webcams, they can technically take a picture with their phone and do it that way. But the webcam is built in. Whatever's built into your device is what I'm referring to. I hope I answered your question. So we have an example of a math blog here, where a good student of mine, name is Devon. Very funny kid. We have some cool inside jokes, the two of us. But Devon, what he would do, they were working on in math class on dot plots. So the teacher gave him a task, and he worked it out on his paper. And I tell them, hey, when you're gonna take a picture of your work, make sure you write big enough and you write neat enough so we can read it. So he solved the problem and then wrote, I said, give me at least a paragraph of your rationale behind what you did. So a lot of people say, how do I get writing into math? Here you go. Have them take pictures of their work, maybe 1-2 problems at a time, and write those rationales as a blog. As a teacher, what you can do to manage this, you can create your own Google site for free and make a page for each class you have. And it takes a little bit of setup and some work, but once you have it, it makes doing the math blog so much easier. So what you do, excuse me, you put your roster. You type every kid's name is on that page, and what you do, you get the student's math blog URL, and then you link it to their name on the website. It takes a little bit of work, but once you get it done, it's automated. So if you've assigned students to write a math blog post on their math blog, all you got to do is go to your website that you have set up with every kid's name on it, click on that student's name, and boom, it shows you if they've done the work. It shows you with the time and the date that they posted it, and you can see what they've done, read the rationale. So you're getting kids some writing into a math class. It all started using the webcam. So that's a fun little one we've done. Another one we did, we added some screencasting into the mix. I had a 6th grade math class who was teacher. She was kind of pulling her hair out that these kids, man, they talk a lot. She actually told me, come and do something that makes them shut up. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I go, how about we put their talking, we leverage their talking skills and put that talking skills to work. So we put them in groups of 2 or 3 kids, and what they would do, they would work out the math problems. And instead of making a math blog, they would put the picture of their work on a Google Doc, and then they would start typing below their image, again, the rationale. So now, once it's very similar to the math blog, except now we're going to use a Chrome extension called Screencastify, where they can now record their screen and their voice and make a video. So what they're going to do is now not only are they going to, you can see what they've done, they've written about it, now they have to speak. So we're really working on that listening and speaking. So they would screencast pretty much explaining the picture of their work. So they go step by step, they explain the rationale, all by speaking. And then once they're done recording, they upload their video into YouTube. So what this teacher did, there was 8 different problem types with 8 different groups. She jigsawed it. And every group uploaded their video to YouTube. We made a playlist where all the kids now can go in and see all the other different problem types, and they learn from each other. So again, they start off by rocking that webcam, taking a picture of their work, they rationalized about it, they wrote about it, and then they spoke. So it was a fun day. So again, it's Screencastify plus Google Docs, cool little app smash. So if you want any more questions about that, I can definitely off the air field some questions. But that brings us to the end of our presentation. Hope you guys learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, you have any feedback for me, some constructive criticism, I'm open to it. So I'll stay on just for a few minutes here to field any questions out loud or in the chat. Stop sharing my screen right here. My back. All right, so I'm back here. All right, so let's see. Well, thanks, Peggy, for joining. All your great comments and questions have been great. Thanks again, everybody. We got El Gleaming. All right, yes, thanks for joining me, Reba, Brett. I got everybody. So yeah, again, connect with me on Twitter. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me, at Tech Coach Juarez, and I respond very quickly, and we can form this collaborative relationship and continue to learn from each other. So I'll stay on for a few minutes, and then I'll be back again at 5. This will be my 5th presentation to talk about some tech coaching with Catherine Goyette, and I will be talking about how to deal with tech-resistant teachers. So we're kind of our thing that we do. So if you want to talk to us later at, well, let's see, yeah, in an hour from now, Catherine and I will be online talking about dealing with tech-resistant teachers. So if you're a kind of a tech lead at your school or a tech coach, teachers who don't want to jump jump on board with using tech and the 4 C's, we have some tips, some war stories that we can share to help you work with those people. So thanks for joining, and hopefully I'll see you guys back again in an hour.